Welcome to my channel. I hope you like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet this little hat. It's very easy to make, very beginner friendly. I made it to match the little Ivy cardigan sweater, the little Ivy baby blanket, and the little Ivy baby pants. In the information box, I'll go ahead and leave you the links to the matching set. Stay tuned for the matching booties. I'll go ahead and show you that in another tutorial. Now, the little hat is for 3 to 6 months, but you can easily make it smaller or bigger from a preemie size and up to an adult extra large size. You simply follow the same pattern using standard measurements that I'm going to provide at the beginning of the tutorial. And as always, if you prefer written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop up here on the right hand side and in the information box below. I'll leave you the direct link for the baby blanket and the little cardigan, since those are already available in my Etsy shop. Thank you so much for your support. Now, to make the little set, including the little hat, this is the yarn that I used. I'm using 2 colors, this pink color and the white. For the little hat, for the 3 to 6 month size, I used a total of 37 grams, 29 grams in the main color, which is the pink color, and about 8 grams in the color white, not including the pom-pom. Depending on the size that you make, you may need less or more. Okay, let's get started. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. To make this little hat, I'll be using this 3.5mm crochet hook, and today I'm using this DK weight yarn. I'm going to use 2 colors, white and the pink color. I'm going to start with the white. You can also use any number 3 yarn or a ply, and actually you can use any yarn weight with any hook size. We're going to be following standard hat size measurements to make this little hat, and the first measurement that we're going to need is the width of the crown, and then we're going to need the second measurement, which is the total length. So if you want to make your little hat from a preemie size up to an adult extra large size following the same pattern, you can. The first thing that we're going to do is the crown. So for 3 to 6 months, it needs to measure about 5 inches, which is about 12.5 centimeters. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, these 2 measurements is what we're going to use. Like I said, we're going to start with the width of the crown and then the total length. So here, to begin, for the 3 to 6 months, I'm going to start with a white yarn, and I'm going to make a magic circle. To make a magic circle, all you do is just hold the tail end like this, wrap the yarn around your fingers, hold it right there where the yarn joins, and now insert your hook and grab a loop like this. That's the magic circle. Now here I'm going to chain 2. These 2 chains will never count as a stitch. Now inside this circle, I'm going to make a total of 12 double crochets like this. That's 2, 3, 4, and so on until you have a total of 12 double crochets. Continue. I'll meet you at the end of this first row. I'm here at the end of the first row. I have 12 double crochets. Now to close this gap here, all you do is just pull on this tail end, and that should close the circle. Now to finish the row, go on top of the first double crochet, not the chains but the double crochet, and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish row 1. Now for row 2, I'm going to chain 2. The 2 chains never count. Beginning into this same stitch, which is the first double crochet that we joined into, make 2 double crochets. 2 double crochets into the next, and so on. For this second row, this is how we're going to continue. You just make 2 double crochets on each one of the double crochets from the previous row, so that at the end of this second row, you finish with a total of 24 double crochets. Continue like this. Finish the second row. I will meet you at the end. I finished the second row. At the end of this row, I have 24 double crochets. To finish, go on top of the first double crochet, not the chains, but the double crochet, and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the second row with 24 double crochets. Now for row 3, I'm going to chain 2. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, which is the same stitch we joined into, make 2 double crochets. Now into the next, make 1. And this is how we're going to continue. Into the next, make a double crochet increase, and into the next, make 1. Again, make a double crochet increase into the next, and then make 1 double crochet into the next. Continue like this all around. 2 1 2 1. So continue. At the end of this row, you're going to have 36 double crochets. I'll meet you here at the end. I'm here at the end of the third row. I have 36 double crochets. To finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 3, chain 2. Beginning on top of the first stitch, make 2 double crochets. Now into the next 2, make 1. And this is how you're going to continue. Into the next, make 2. So a double crochet increase. And into the next 2, make 1. Again, make a double crochet increase into the next. And into the next 2, make 1. Continue like this for this fourth row. At the end of this fourth row, you should have a total of 48 double crochets. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the fourth row. I have 48 double crochets. To finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And here's row 4. Now, I recommend that you start measuring this part here. Depending on the size that you're making, you may have the measurement that you need for the crown width. For the 3 to 6 months, this here needs to be about 5 inches, like I said, which is about 12.5 centimeters. So I still have a couple more rows to make here. If you're making this for a preemie size or a newborn size, you may already have the measurement, or you just need to make one more row or so. So make sure that you measure this across from one end to the other. I'm going to continue here with row 5. So here, chain 2, and beginning into this first stitch, make 2 double crochets. Now into the next 3, make 1. And this is how you're going to continue. Make a double crochet increase into the next. And into the next 3, make 1 double crochet. Again, you're going to make a double crochet increase into the next, and then into the next 3, 1 double crochet. At the end of this 5th row, you should have a total of 60 double crochets. I'll meet you at the end. I finished row 5. At the end of the 5th row, I have 60 double crochets. So I'm going to measure this for you now. I need this to measure about 5 inches. It's measuring about 4.5 inches, so I'm going to continue make one more row. If you're making it for the 0 to 3 month size, then you have the measurement now, which is about 4.5 inches. I have 4.5 inches right now. So if you're making it for 0 to 3 months, just continue watching or forward the video to where I start the pattern here with the second color. I need to make one more row, so for row 6 here, I'm going to chain 2. Beginning into this first stitch, make 2 double crochets. Into the next 4, make 1. This is how you're going to continue. Make a double crochet increase into the next. And then into the next 4, make 1. At the end of this 6th row, you should have a total of 72 double crochets. I'll meet you at the end. I finished the 6th row. At the end of the 6th row, I have a total of 72 double crochets. Now I have the measurement that I need for the 3 to 6 month size. It's a tiny bit over, but it's okay. It's measuring about 5.25 inches, which is about 13.5 centimeters. If I were to leave this with only 5 rows, it would have been too small, so I made another row. So it's okay if it goes a little bit over. Now, if you need to make the crown bigger for bigger sizes, you would just continue with the same sequence. For example, if you need to make row 7, you would just start with a double crochet increase into the first stitch, then into the next 5 stitches, you would make 1 double crochet. For row 7, you would make a double crochet increase, and into the next 6, 1 double crochet, and so on until you have the measurement that you need for the size that you're making. So here to continue, I'm going to make 1 more row where I just make front post and back post double crochets. If you're not changing yarn color, then all you do is just join and then chain 1. I'm going to join the new color here by going on top of the first stitch, bring a loop through, and then chain 1. Now, beginning with the first double crochet, which is this one here, make a front post double crochet. Into the next, a back post double crochet. Into the next, a front post double crochet, and so on. This is how you're going to continue for row 1. Here I'm going to start counting rows because this part here is the body of the hat, and we're just going to continue like this, alternating between a front post and a back post double crochet. Continue and finish this first row. I will meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this first row. In this row, I did front post and back post double crochets. I have 72 stitches. My last stitch here is a back post double crochet. Now to finish the row, we're going to go here to the beginning. On top of the first stitch, join with a slip stitch. Now for row 2, in this row, I'm going to start the pattern. I'm going to make the 3 double crochet cluster stitch. So to begin here, you chain 2. Beginning into this same stitch, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, and grab a loop. Take 2 loops off. Leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again, grab a loop, take 2 loops off. I have 4 loops on the hook, close, chain 2, then a single crochet into the same stitch. And here's the stitch. Now before we continue, place a stitch marker here to mark the 2 chains, because once we finish the row, this is where we're going to join with a slip stitch. Now to make the second shell, you're going to yarn over, skip 2 stitches and into the next, make your 3 double crochet cluster stitch. Insert your hook, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, 4 loops on the hook, close, chain 2, then a single crochet. Again, skip 2 and into the third, yarn over, insert your hook, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, 4 loops on the hook, close, 2 chains, and then a single crochet into the same stitch. Again, yarn over, skip 2 and into the third stitch, insert your hook, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, 4 loops on the hook, close, 2 chains, then a single crochet. And this is how you're going to continue all around for this second row. I will meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the second row. I have 24 of these cluster stitches. Now to finish here at the end, skip the last 2 stitches, remove the stitch marker, and right here into the chain 2 that we did at the beginning, join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish row 2. I have 24 cluster stitches, or 24 of these shells. Now from here on, this is going to be the right side and this is going to be the wrong side. For the pattern here, we need to always turn at the end of each row. So for the third row here, chain 2 and turn. This third row is being worked on the wrong side. Now this is the row that you're going to repeat from here on. You always chain 2 and turn. And in the chain 2 space of each one of these shells, you're going to insert your hook, First, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, and grab a loop. Take 2 loops off, yarn over again, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again, take 2 loops off, 4 loops on the hook, close, 2 chains, and then a single crochet into the same stitch. Now here, don't forget to place a stitch marker to mark the 2 chains. That is where you're going to join at the end of each row. Again, into the next cluster stitch or the next shell in the chain 2 space here, insert your hook, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, 4 loops on the hook, close, 2 chains, single crochet. Again, into the next in the chain 2 space, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, 4 loops, close, 2 chains, single crochet. Continue like this for this third row. I will meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the third row. I have 24 of these cluster stitches. To finish each row from here on, you're going to go here to the beginning where we have the 2 chains and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the third row. This is the row that you're going to repeat from here on. So to start you off here for row 4, you're going to chain 2 and turn. Now in the chain 2 space of each one of these cluster stitches, you're going to make a cluster stitch. So yarn over, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, yarn over, take 2 loops off, 4 loops on the hook, close, 2 chains, then a single crochet into this same space. Now don't forget to place your stitch marker to mark the beginning of the row. And now repeat the same thing. Into the next cluster stitch in the chain 2 space, yarn over, insert your hook, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, take 2 loops off, leave 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, take 2 loops off, 4 loops on the hook, 2 chains, then a single crochet. And this is how you're going to continue for the rest. This fourth row is being worked on the right side. For each row, you always chain 2 and turn. And at the end of each row, you're always going to have 24 cluster stitches. Here to finish, you're going to join here where the 2 chains are with a slip stitch, chain 2, turn, and then repeat the same thing. Now you're going to continue like this, just repeating this row until we have the total length. That is from the top of the crown to the end of the last row. For 3 to 6 month size, I'm not sure how many rows that's going to be, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do. For any of the other sizes, same thing. You're just going to continue and repeat this row until you have the total length from the top of the crown. And then we're going to make the brim, which is the same for all sizes. So continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do here for the 3 to 6 month size. So I'll meet you at the end of that row. I finished making this part of the little hat. This is the body. I did a total of 11 rows, counting this first row that I did of front post and back post double crochets. Now this part here from the top of the crown to the end of the last row, it's measuring about 15 centimeters, which is about 6 inches. If you're making your hat for any other size, you're just going to continue and repeat this row until you have the measurement for the size that you're making. We're going by the total length. So for 3 to 6 months, it needs to measure about 6 inches or 15 centimeters. I already have the measurement. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to continue in the same way, and I'm going to do about 3 or 4 rows. I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do. I think I'll do 4 so that it looks like this. I'm going to make a foldable brim, but if you want to leave it like this, then just go ahead and continue watching. I will let you know how I'm going to finish the last row. So here for the brim, since I do want a foldable brim, I chain 2 and turn, and I'm just going to continue and repeat the same thing for about 3 or 4 rows. I'm not sure how wide I want my brim, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of that row. I finished making the brim. I did a total of 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. Row 3 or row 14 in total here was worked on the right side, and at the end of that row I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn, and pass my yarn through that last loop. I'm going to change to the white color here so that I can do the last row. Now I measure this, and it's measuring from the top of the crown to the end of the last row. It's measuring about 18 centimeters, which is about 7 inches. If you want to make your brim wider, you can make more rows. Once it's done, this is how it's going to look. Now, if you're making this little hat for boys, I would leave it like this. It's done. But if you're making it for little girls and you want it to match the little sweater, I'm going to do this row here in white. So let me show you how to do this. The third row, or row 14, was worked on the right side. So we're going to turn here. So this row is going to be worked on the wrong side. This is where I finished. This is where I joined. So I'm going to go here into the first cluster stitch in the chain 2 space here. I'm going to grab this loop through. This is the white yarn. Now chain 1, and into the same stitch here, or the same space here, make a single crochet, then 3 chains, single crochet. So here I did a chain, then a single crochet, 3 chains, then a single crochet into this same chain 2 space. Now into each one of the chain 2 spaces of each one of these cluster stitches, or the shells here, you're going to chain 1 to separate, and then you're going to go into the chain 2 and make a single crochet, 3 chains, single crochet, chain 1, and then the same thing in the chain 2 space of the next cluster, make a single crochet, 3 chains, single crochet, chain 1, into the next cluster in the chain 2 space, make a single crochet, 3 chains, single crochet. And this is how you're going to continue for this last row. Continue. I will meet you at the end to show you the finished baby hat. I finished making the last row. Here at the end, I just join on top of a single crochet with a slip stitch, cut my yarn, and pass my yarn through this last loop. And the little hat is all done, and this is how it looks. Now let's try it on my little model here. Now her head circumference is for a 3 to 6 month size. If it's perfect on her, there it is. Now, if you want to add a pom-pom, you can. I'm going to go ahead and add a pom-pom on mine. I already have a tutorial on how I make my pom-pom, so I'll go ahead and leave the link in the information box. So here's the finished little hat. Now, this little hat can be made from a preemie size and up to an adult extra large size. You just follow the same pattern. You start with this part here and then start with the pattern. The pattern here, this has a multiples of 3, which is perfect because the crown is worked in multiples of 3. So here's the finished little hat. Now let me give you the finished measurement. The total length from the top of the crown to the end here, it's measuring about 18.5 centimeters, which is about 7.25 inches. And the width, it's measuring about 18 centimeters, which is about 7 inches, just the top. So based on the measurements that we followed, the little hat is for 3 to 6 months. And I made it to match the little sweater and the little pants and the baby blanket that I already showed you for this set. This is the Ivy set. This is the little Ivy cardigan, the little Ivy baby pants, and now the little Ivy baby hat and the little Ivy baby blanket. In the information box, you can find all of those tutorials. Now the only thing left is the little shoes. I'll go ahead and do that in another tutorial. Make sure to comment and let me know if you want me to make another set using a different stitch pattern. I'll gladly go ahead and do that, but make sure to comment, please. And I'll leave the link on how to make pom-poms in the information box as well. And as always, if you prefer written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop up here on the right hand side and in the information box below. I'll leave you the direct link for the baby blanket and the little cardigan, since those are already available in my Etsy shop. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.